statement.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very kindly, and thank you to all the witnesses for being with us today. There is more to immigration than border enforcement, as the ranking member of the subcommittee just said, and it's a good thing that our friends are waking up to that. President Trump and Stephen Miller's ambition to deport 12 million people from the country has been a terrible failure on its own terms, but even in its failure, it has turned our society upside down. It has terrorized both citizens and non-citizens, destabilized and divided our communities, wrecked small businesses who've lost their workers, and trashed our Constitution for everybody. It's gotten so bad that Donald Trump even seems to have recognized that his policies don't fit reality. 2 weeks ago, he gave the game away by acknowledging that hundreds of thousands of undocumented aliens working on the farms and in the fields are, quote, good longtime workers, and that he'd been lobbied both by his agriculture secretary and by large agricultural interests to stop the ICE raids on farms as they are spreading panic in keeping a majority of the workforce from showing up at work. So he decided he would stop enforcing the mass dragnet ICE raids there and invoke the same logic for the restaurant sector, also heavily dependent on undocumented people. Of course, it would apply equally then to the construction sector, landscaping and gardening, nursing, you name it. The vast majority of immigrants, even those here illegally, are not rapists and criminals, but hardworking people, essential to our economy, just looking to make a better life for themselves. Think of the dreamers. So it's good for us to be having the first immigration hearing in memory, not on enforcement tactics at the border or in our communities, but instead about visas. Alas, the president's record on visas is riddled with the same bursts of extremism and dogmatism and fanaticism that have made his enforcement measures so unpopular. He and his administration have tortured our laws and trampled our Constitution to kick out permanent resident green card holders and students and target universities who voice opinions that he disapproves of. As part of its effort to undertake a hostile takeover of America's colleges and universities, the administration interrupted interviews for student and exchange visitor visas. The result, about 15% of foreign doctors slated to begin their work at American teaching hospitals around the country were unable to get their visas in time to start the medical year next month, all at a time when we have a serious doctor shortage in the country that threatens access to care. And the monstrous reconciliation bill threatens to slash Medicaid funding on which rural hospitals rely. The administration has also recently implemented its xenophobic travel ban to unilaterally ban entrance to the country for all nationals of 19 different countries, with minor exceptions. Categorically denying visas to nationals of these countries does not make us safer or freer or more prosperous. It cements us in the eyes of the world as a vindictive, isolationist, and increasingly undependable and authoritarian country. The travel ban will likely have significant economic consequences by restricting travel and migration from the targeted nations. In 2022, at least 298,000 non-citizens from countries affected by the new travel ban arrived in the U.S. Most of them came to the U.S. temporarily, spending money as tourists or as students, fueling our economy. The following year, households with nationals from the targeted countries collectively earned $3.2 billion in income, paid $715 million in federal, state, and local taxes, and held $2.5 billion in spending power. Donald Trump also paused the refugee program, claiming the entry of these thoroughly vetted and re-vetted individuals would be detrimental to the United States. But then he allowed white Afrikaners to apply via a Google form and to undergo an expedited process to come to the U.S. as refugees. And it should shock no one to learn that after they arrived, reporters were able to dig up numerous anti-Semitic posts from the refugees. One of them had never been subjected, apparently, to the new anti-Semitism screen being used for other visa candidates. The title of this hearing is Restoring Integrity and Security to the Visa Process. How does any of this restore integrity or security? These random pauses, arbitrary bans, ad hoc detentions do nothing to improve security or integrity in our process. President Trump has turned our visa system into a terrain of caprice and selective punishment he can wield against his chosen political enemies and use to demonize and scapegoat immigrants including visa recipients. This war on immigrants is designed to distract us from the fact that they're trying to cut 14 million Americans off of Medicaid, destroying small businesses with chaotic and unlawful tariff policies, gutting federal agencies and programs charged with protecting Americans against scams and frauds, and using the pardon power to transfer more than $1 billion from the victims of crime to the perpetrators of crime. Sometimes the president's had his lucid moments on immigration. During his first term, while saying he wanted to build a big, beautiful wall, he said the wall would have a big, very beautiful door, signifying his support for legal immigration. In brief, lucid moments like these, I try to find hope that we can work together across the aisle to focus on a secure border, the removal of immigrants convicted of serious crimes and public safety threats, a pathway to citizenship for the law-abiding, tax-paying, undocumented immigrants who Trump recently called very good long-time workers, and a modernized immigration system that will make it easier to come here lawfully while protecting American workers. We've come very close to doing this in the past. We can do it again. Tom Paine, who arrived in the country in 1774, fell in love with America when he got here. He said, this land will become an asylum to humanity. Not an insane asylum, mind you, but a place of refuge for people seeking freedom from religious and political and economic persecution and discrimination from all over the world. So let's live up to the original vision of the founders. This is a nation made up of immigrants and the descendants of people who were enslaved and of the original Native Americans. But this is a land of immigration, a land of immigrants, and a land of laws. We can make it all fit together, and I hope we can work together on a bipartisan basis to make that happen. Yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. I will now